Happy Friday. It is Representative Muffy Davis with the legislative weekly summary of what's been going on here in Boise at the Idaho State Legislature. We are in, I think our 7th week. So things have been going along. We're getting close to the end. We have about 3 or 4 more weeks left. We're supposed to break on March 25th, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of stuff still going on, and we might go into that for a week, if not even longer. It's been a busy week. Things are starting to really move and fly through. And we had some interesting stuff in Health and Welfare Committee. We actually passed out of committee. We heard a bill for licensing of naturopathic physicians. And that I got a ton of emails from constituents and people all over Idaho. Some opposing it because it restricted licensure for some people, but a lot of my constituents up there in Blaine County and Gooding and Lincoln counties all were in support of this because it was going to allow physicians that have gone to an accredited school to, in fact, get licensure and be able to practice the full scope of medicine, and hopefully increase access of care for all patients to be able to go see and get better care from those naturopathic physicians. It has passed out of committee and it is going to the House floor, and we will be voting on it soon, hopefully. Hopefully we will get that passed and out to the Senate. We also had some great presentations this week in Health and Welfare, a presentation on Alzheimer's and the preparation and the needs that we need to do here in Idaho, and how terribly far behind we are in planning and having a good Alzheimer's implementation plan and ways to keep people in community and home setting environments. So they're really working. They have a plan on that. Another one great presentation we had was a suicide prevention plan, which turned out that was Governor Little's and Health and Welfare's top funding priority this year. Unfortunately, the budget that just came out of JFAC drastically slashed that recommended budget. They are giving more money to suicide prevention this next year, but about 200,000, nowhere near that million that was requested. Hopefully we will be able to continue upping that and being able to follow along that plan, that suicide prevention plan, because Idaho is one of the top states for suicide in the country, and we have a goal of decreasing suicides in Idaho by 20% by 2025. And so in order to do that, we need to make sure that we get that funding so we can implement that full plan. So we'll be working on more of that next year, but be patient. They did get some funding. They are going to keep implementing the plan, and moving forward, we're just going to be limited in how much they can implement it as fast as they can. So working on that. We have some bills that we will be hearing or waiting to hear are on the House floor. One is through education, but it is about sex education. It is a bill to propose that parents, instead of opting out of their children having sex education in high school, it is an opt-in, and parents have to choose. This bill would be that parents would have to choose to opt in. So we haven't heard that on the floor yet. We will be hearing that. We are waiting to hear a bill on legalizing industrial hemp here in Idaho. It is still held in the Agriculture Committee, but hopefully they will pass that out and we will be able to hear that on the House floor. We are still waiting to see or hear any new legislation for Medicaid expansion. JFAC, the appropriations, did fund the governor's plan for clean Medicaid implementation. So they have found ways and have situated that. We have not voted on that funding or that appropriations on the House floor, waiting to see and hear what other potential legislation might come out with different various sideboards. So stay tuned. We still have not gotten that taken care of. I believe that will probably be coming a lot of towards the end of the session. And so we'll be reaching out to you to make sure you reach out to all the legislators and let them know, continue to let them know what it is that the people want and the will of the people, and to work and enact that. We still have not seen the final education funding formula plan. They are on their 11th or 12th version, are still trying to figure that out. And we're also waiting to see if Marcy's Law, which was just re-amended in the Senate, actually passes out of the Senate. Marcy's Law is a bill that would add victims' rights, crime victims' rights in our state, in our Constitution. So we're waiting to see what happens with that one. We had some hard bills that we did hear just yesterday, Thursday, and were not passed. One was the Marriage Age Act to try and give a minimum age for marriage that is legal here in Idaho. Currently, there is no age. Anyone under the age of 16 has to get parental consent. To get married. What this legislation proposed to do, was brought by Representative Wintrow, was to make it that 16 was the minimum age for marriage, and that anyone 16 or 17 needed to get parental consent. Unfortunately, that did not pass in the House, so hopefully we can figure out a way to bring that back next year and really work to protect our children and make sure that they are not forced into any marriage or any situation that they may not want to be in. We had a wonderful PTSI bill that passed the House and is on to the Senate, and what that would offer our first responders coverage for mental health coverage in workers' comp without a conditional also having a physical injury. Currently, the way the legislation works, in order to get workers' comp coverage for mental health, they need to have an accompanying physical condition or physical injury. This new bill will just say that our first responders are able to get mental health coverage under workers' comp without a physical injury, but just if they need that mental health coverage, which we all know no one but our first responders need it probably more. They have seen more tragedy and more loss than anyone else. So that was great. And we had a great success in Transportation Committee yesterday. We were able to kill the hands-free cell phone bill that was trying. So it was a bill that was trying to negate any local ordinances from being able to pass a hands-free cell phone. And what we have in Blaine County, Ketchum, and Haley, those ordinances that says hands-free cell phone is mandatory and it's not legal to hold your cell phone while you're driving in those jurisdictions. This legislation was proposing to kill that and say that no, there could be no local ordinances that could set hands-free legislation. That was stopped in the House committee. There was a bill, unfortunately, that failed in the Senate that was trying to make our whole state hands-free, and unfortunately, that didn't pass out of the Senate. But we're going to keep working and try and bring some new legislation next year that will make all parties so that we can get that passed. That would be statewide legislation for hands-free cell use. So with that, it has been a very busy week. We unfortunately had several environmental bills that came through, House Joint Memorial 5, 8, and House Bill 162 and 141 that all came through the House and passed the House. I was against all of those bills. I had heard from many of you to vote in opposition, and it wasn't what we wanted, but unfortunately we were the minority and we're not able to stop those. So they are going over to the Senate, where hopefully if you write all your senators and request that they vote against those bills, hopefully we will be able to stop them and continue to protect our precious public lands and environment here. So sorry this went a little longer than normal, but lots going on, and I wanted to just try and make sure I updated you on everything, and please keep reaching out. We had our town halls last week, and I wanted to thank everyone that came out. It was great. Reach out to Representative Thune, myself, or Senator Stennett if you have any questions or any concerns. We'd love to hear from all of you anytime. That is how we know what is important to you and what we need to focus on. So thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned. We'll keep you posted next week. Take care.